Hello, ladies. Welcome. Welcome to your all access Q&A call on this beautiful Wednesday. Happy to see your faces. Everyone's just popping on. And the all access call is a beautiful new opportunity. For many of you, this might be the first one that you're popping on. We've just started this year so that there is a space for you to have more time to get questions answered and for all levels to be able to be together in this experience. And so, meaning we've got women who are in Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy and in Leverage and in Lotus all coming together on this call. So there's going to be all different kinds of questions that get asked. And what's so beautiful about that experience of being with women in the larger tribe, the larger community, is you get to know what's going on for more of your sisters and get to have more points of connection so that when you come together and you see each other at the retreats, especially like the July retreat that's just coming up right around the corner, you get to really already know each other. And this is a great place to make connections for affiliate partners and joint venture partners and people you can collaborate with and, maybe do talks for each other's communities, whether that's virtual. We've seen lots of women do that in terms of Facebook groups, or get to collaborate on in-person things. And so it's just special that we now have a call where you get to be together with the larger, broader community. And I know yesterday on the Leverage call, as I was leading, there were a lot of raised hands already at the end. And so I would just encourage you, if you were on that call yesterday, before I even ask any other questions, just go ahead and raise your virtual hands on this one, so I know that you're back and you're here today with your next questions, because I promised that we would get to those questions. And then for all of you as well, this will be your opportunity. So once we just give them a minute to raise their hands from the ones that we didn't get to yesterday, and then it'll create a whole lineup for asking questions. I'm going to announce a couple things that just pertain to everybody here that I want to make sure that you get. Going back to my announcements, those of you who were here yesterday heard this, but we have a few important call date changes. And so for your program, you're going to want to go ahead and look in your forum on the calendar tab. And they're going to be updated really soon, but it's not until September that we're just changing a couple of dates, because we are going to be having a live event in San Diego now in September. Super exciting. And that calendar tab is going to show the couple of calls that are going to get moved so that you won't be missing anything. If you're attending the live event and getting to have that experience, or maybe even volunteering and being on the team in that way, which is an awesome opportunity. We'll be sharing more about how you can be part of it on your other main calls. But that will be an opportunity for you to really to get to see more of what happens in the live event space. And so just keep that in mind for yourself, and know to check your tab for the September calls. And July retreat. So the July retreat is just around the corner, and we've got room blocks added with the rates good until June 22nd. So if you haven't yet booked your room, now's the time to do it. You can just go ahead and look in the events tab for all the details related to events and the Facebook posts that are related to them. And if we're missing your RSVP, so if you have not yet RSVP'd, then you're going to need to send that in and make sure that we know. So you can definitely email support@sagealign.com if you're having any trouble with those pieces. But we want to make sure we've got you on the RSVP list. So we've got materials printed out and we're ready for you. So we're excited to get to see you so soon in July. And right now you can go ahead, if you know you're coming to the call with questions and you haven't raised your hand yet, raise your hand to get in the queue. And I'm going to get started and just dive right in with those who are here. So this call is an hour and a half. We do a 90-minute session, and this is for you. So I'm going to open up the participants piece here. All right. Audrey, correct me if I'm saying it wrong. I'm probably totally saying it wrong.
You're saying it perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm glad to circle back around to you. I know yesterday we didn't get to, so.
Yes, I have first like a, I think it's kind of house cleaning or housekeeping. Um, do we have any training about the email sequence? I post this question, but I don't know that I have an answer. Do we have any training on the um, emails nurturing sequence that we should do after people opt in? Do we have anything like that?
I haven't seen like a specific nurture sequence on there. I can definitely look after the call in the forum and see if there's anything. I'll just make a note of that. We definitely have, so what we have is specific email templates. And so I know in the leverage forum, and it'll be slightly different for ELA, but in your forums, you're going to have templates for sending out particular kinds of emails. And so you can look for those kind of templates. Like right now, I know we've got templates for discovery sessions, for instance, for if you're wanting to invite people into a discovery session, and you'll see a template for that there. That would be the starting place to look and just have that as a foundation that you could use those templates. But as far as a specific nurture sequence, it's going to be a little bit different for each of you. And for those of you who are not familiar with that term too, I just want to address that the nurture sequence is after somebody is opted in for a free gift with you, then they get a series of emails that's really nurturing that relationship. And so one of the things that I would really recommend at the beginning of that nurture sequence is if they've opted in for a free gift, you're guiding them to take a next step with you that's really easy for them to say yes to. And often we can think like jumping right to a discovery session is an easy next step, but it's actually a pretty big commitment for someone to jump on a call with you, to have that one-on-one time. They can feel anxious about that. So this is where I would really make it a point to just consider what else do you have for people after they've gotten that initial free gift. So it's going to be different for all of you, but for many, you're going to have a Facebook group that you could potentially invite them into, or you might be thinking about starting one as a next place, or inviting them to like your business page on Facebook if you have that, and letting them know you're going to be doing regular videos on there. So if you don't yet have a group, that would be another avenue. If you have a meetup group and you're inviting people more to in-person things, and your list is more cultivated from those in-person gatherings and events, then the meetup group is a great next step to invite people into, to get them on that list, so that they're getting notifications in multiple places from you, not just an email. But for instance, if you had all those three and you were letting them know, oh, I've got a free workshop coming up. If you can make it, if you can join this one, here's the date. And even if not, go ahead and get in this group so that you'll find out about our upcoming events. Now, if you think about it, when you have a talk coming up, you're going to be sharing about it online. People will get those notifications from you from your social media posts. They're going to also hear about it from your emails that you'll send out, and they're going to get it from the meetup itself. So the more avenues you can be reaching people, the more likely it is that you're going to get in front of the right ones.
Thank you. And this has brings me, or it's similar subject to the Facebook, which some people talked about yesterday, the Facebook live series. It's the first time yesterday that I hear about Facebook live series. I thought that series would be, take this free training, and then the series wouldn't be on Facebook, it would be on your website. So first one is revealed, the other one is revealed. My question to you, and I would love to know what you have to say about the Facebook thing series, is like, once I invite them to a Facebook live series, or once I invite them to like a video training series, I know I have calls to action in all the videos, but Am I allowed to sell on those? Or in the end of the series, or like each one is going to have a call to action, but not necessarily connected to a bigger offer. Is that correct?
So so the Facebook Live series, so some of you have seen, I want to speak to two things. Some of you have seen video series or opted in for things or led them yourself, where you've seen a series of videos, like it's really from Jeff Walker's launch plan, his style of having a series of videos. People see video number 1 is a training, and there could be handouts or actions from that. And then there's video number 2 comes a couple days later. So there's that style. And the Facebook Live trainings are really taking a very similar thing, but creating more of that immediate engagement. It's not, it's not as difficult technology wise. The other launch style takes more technology know-how. There's more moving parts. And Facebook Live allows you to just hit live and then give your video right there. People aren't expecting it to be some like masterfully produced, perfectly lit, orchestrated thing that would often feel like, oh gosh, I'm not going to be ready for that. And that's why we recommend the Facebook Lives, because you can make that look really good just where you are in your home. Like you've got great lighting and great backdrop right now. So you could, you could have, you're going to come across as really warm and present and engaging. And that's a easy way to be able to just go live and give the training each day. And then you can make offers each day in your Facebook Live. But you wouldn't go right towards offering a paid offer. Like some of those, when you see those longer trainings, they're offering often a paid offer as a next step. With the Facebook Lives, it's about getting the engagement and encouraging people on the first one to come back to the second one and what you're going to be training in the second one, and to post or comment. So you're getting them to engage. If you were training them, for instance, like we'll do a business coaching example of like niche clarity. And then you were saying like, post your niche, like how it is right now below. And then you comment on them over the course of that day. So then you create all that engagement and connection. And then you come back the next day and do a next tier of the training. So for each of you, whatever your niche is, what kind of questions could you ask the people who are coming to you to watch those trainings? And then on the next day, usually what would be offered would be discovery sessions. And then from there, on the third day, you could offer more discovery sessions. So that's, for most of you, that's what we'd be recommending, as, unless your coach in one-on-one is suggesting something else, knowing your personal niche and what you have going on. For most of you, it's just going to discovery sessions for a program, because even for something like events that change lives, whoops, oh, my camera went off. Weird. Okay, there we go. Even for something like events that change lives, where Sage is making a direct offer and she's talking about the pricing of it and inviting people in, we're still on the other end as coaches having conversations with people. And they might be shorter or easier kind of to have, because she's gone over all the details of what's in the program, what's it look like. But people still really love having that check-in of, well, here's what it's exactly going on for me, and do you think this is a good fit? So it may look like, oh, it's just direct selling, but there are definitely conversations happening on the other end. And for most of you, that's going to require you having those conversations until you get team members that can have them for you.
Excellent. And something that was spoken about yesterday about doing, I'm not saying that I'm going to do, but doing the Zoom so we can get the email, because at the end of the day, the email is one of the important, one of the most important pieces, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, emails are still very important for sure. And it's also great when people can just be able to find you on Facebook and watch a video that you've created too. So what Audrey's talking about right now is, for those of you who weren't on that call yesterday, is when you use Zoom technology like we're using right now, and you have Zoom webinar, you can stream it directly to Facebook. And what we recommend is you're collecting people's emails in advance, so that then you're emailing them, here's the Zoom login info. They can join you directly on that Zoom line, and you can also laser coach them. You'll see them if you invite them in as panelists. That's the other benefit compared to just being on Facebook, where people can type in their comments, but you're not seeing them.
So a benefit, like a payment for being coached, is give me your email and you will be coached on Zoom. Okay,
exactly.
Awesome.
Then you can get coached. Yeah, and yeah, perfect.
And just making sure that you remember to follow up with me about the email sequence.
Yeah, I wrote a note about that. I'll take a look and see, and then I can post it in the leverage page. This will be different for ELA if because you have different handouts, but I'll check on that. You're welcome. Thank
you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And I just want to speak to a moment before we hop to the next person. I just want to speak to the fact that you're going to be hearing questions that may feel like, oh, I'm not sure about this. Like I don't know about Facebook Live trainings or something like that, especially if you're just new into Entrepreneur Leadership Academy. So I just want to invite us all to take a deep breath. And remind yourself that you're already enough and you're doing enough no matter where you are in your business. And there's going to be people working at all different levels of business. Some people who've had a business for years and they're asking questions that are for those kind of businesses. And some of you who are just claiming who you're going to be working with, and you're doing exactly what you need to be doing right now. So this is important for you to stay in your own lane as far as, oh, this is what I need. And it's also really cool to get a sneak peek in to see, oh, what's happening a little further down the line, and what could I learn about that, is a little different, maybe like I found when I was also, starting my business. Sometimes I would hear about something that was a little more advanced or on the edge, and I would get curious about it, or it sparked some interest, and then I wanted to see, well, where could that fit in my business? And just noticing where your energy goes up and where you start to feel your energy go down. It's always a tool for everything in life. But when you feel your energy rising, like, ooh, that sounds exciting, I'd love to do video trainings on Facebook, then go ahead, get curious about it. And if you're like, oh, shoot, I don't think I ever want to do that, and you start to spin out, then just know that just put it away in the bookcase of the later file to check out later, sometime. That's like the sometime, someday file. It's not the today file. And for some of you, you're working on things that are like, yes, this is what's for right now. So I just wanted to speak to that. So you all keep breathing and just staying with your questions and your needs. All right. So I'm going to jump over to Michelle. I'm going to unmute you.
Hi.
Again.
Hi. Thank you so much for your help today. It was wonderful.
You're welcome.
My question is following from getting clear on the niche and the message and who I'm serving. Mm-hmm. I went to WordPress, and the next step was to come up with a landing page, and it looks pretty easy and affordable and free in some areas. And then from that, message to landing page to going into retreats, discovery sessions and retreats is the launch plan that I've taken. Awesome. And action steps I'm looking for, like when I have time, I'm really micromanaging my time to get stuff done on this. Mm-hmm. Would it be, for example, advertising that landing page, creating the Facebook group, and then sending out emails to my clients? That's what I wrote down. And the areas that are new to me are the WordPress website and the advertising. But I'm pretty sure I can do it. Confident I can do it. Just want your feedback on what are the 3 action steps to funnel into a retreat in November.
Awesome. So once you have the landing page created, is that what you're speaking to? So after that.
Right. So let's say I do that. And then what do I do with it?
So this is really specific to you, Michelle, because of your clientele. Okay. So Michelle is working with people who are already very established, successful business owners or leaders. And some of them may be joining Facebook groups, but really the majority of them are not looking in that way. They're going to want more of a personal touch, personal reach out from you. And so for you, Michelle, I think the best use of your time is going to be making a list, first of all those people you already have a personal connection to through like people you've worked with or you've met at other conferences, like being at Women Rocking Business Live and those kind of connections. And once you have the retreat ready, you can send it out to them and let them know this is happening and this is for X number of leaders. It's an intimate group. I wanted you to be the first to know. And also, if you can think of 2 or 3 friends that this could be a great fit for, would you be willing to pass this on? So this is more grassroots marketing because you're reaching out to a different kind of clientele. And I know you've worked with some really high caliber people who would have friends that they would be more than willing to recommend and send your way. And that's going to be a way better use of your time. That's not for everybody's advice, but for when you're going after those like higher ticket, high-end clients, it's a little bit of a different game.
Makes complete sense. And you said reaching out to them, are we talking text, email, Facebook?
Yeah, so you could text them first. If you have their phone numbers, that's great. You can text them and let them know, or even give them a call and say, hey, I've got another retreat coming up. I wanted to reach out to you first. That would be great if you could call or text them. And then after that, it would be saying, okay, and I sent you an email after you've had that initial conversation and found out where they stand on it, if they're able to come or not, then sending them an email and letting them know, can you think of 2 or 3 people that you could recommend this for? This is a really exclusive retreat. So, it's not for everybody, but you may have a few friends or clients. So using those kind of words like, yeah. And you may have a few friends or clients that this could be great for.
What just came through is I have been doing this exclusive, not for everybody, clients. I have been doing this, and so now it's getting really good at it, I think, and having the landing page to follow up with. Is that what you would recommend as far as something they can look at?
Yeah, and so the landing page is going to detail what's going to happen at your retreat and your whole theme. And I know we talked about the header for you and what the theme of the retreat is. So you'll have all of that on there, and then having a spot where they can apply for a discovery session with you to find out if it's a good fit as the next spot. And then it'll be a matter of you making sure in your calendar that you've got regular spots open so that people can book those discovery sessions, because that is often a hiccup technology-wise for people. They make the page, but then they're not necessarily updating all their spots where they're available to talk to clients. So having that the automated piece of having a calendar where people are able to reach out to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You are so welcome, Michelle. All right. I'm realizing it still says I'm Sage too. So I'm going to rename myself. Yeah. She's here in spirit. She is at retreat with her mastermind with Jeff Walker. And I know I'm realizing also, I just dove right into this, but some of you have no idea who I am. And so I want to also just speak to that for those of you who are in Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy, and this is our first time seeing each other. So I'm Meghan Neeley. I'm one of the Leverage trainers and also the coach and a trainer for Lotus, which is our higher tier of leverage for women who have 6-figure plus businesses. And so I lead this all access call. That is the intention. Last month was our first one, and I lost my voice the day before the call. So that was just how life happens. But the intention is that I'm leading this call throughout the year. So every month you'll have that consistency of being able to hop on with me, and I'll get to know more of what's happening in each of your businesses and be able to support you along the way. I've been through Leverage myself as well, and Sage and the whole Women Rocking Business team supported me in growing my business, and I've had multiple 6-figure launches and the last launch of $250,000, and I know a lot about hosting live events and speaking engagements, as well as how to combine that with the online marketing realm. I'm really passionate about the combination of those two, both the live and in-person and online. And I've been really active in all of those ways in my business with social media and doing consistent speaking engagements. Like I still regularly do speaking engagements a couple of times a month, as well as really growing online presence. So I love to support you in doing the same and getting to create the kind of business that you love that really is a match for your life and your dreams. And I would say that's something I'm especially passionate about, is that whatever you're creating really lines up with how you want to feel in your life. That you're not doing something just to have it look good on paper or sound good to somebody else. You're doing it because you're your own boss and you get to be in charge of creating and designing the kind of life that you're really excited about. And so along the way, I know there can be challenging things that you come up against in growing your business. And it's super important to always come back to what feels good inside for you. Like I said already, what takes your energy up? What ignites you? When do you feel those sparks of inspiration and feeling ignited for something? Follow those and let those keep guiding you forward. So with that, I am going to go forward with Cindy as the next question.
Unmute myself. Hi there.
Yay.
Thanks again for your help the other day. You've got me all excited about my live event. So that's fantastic. So a quick sort of follow-up question about the live event. As you know, my high-end offer is going to be sort of the mastermind, right? So we sorted through some of the details and I realized I'm stuck on the name. So I remember hearing recently, a lot of people were saying that mastermind, like the whole title is getting a little sort of passé because everybody's creating masterminds and people are kind of like, whoa, with it. So I started looking at other options and I posted a poll today and got some feedback. And I know ironically that I think, Shayna wrote saying, oh, masterminds are super hot. And I was kind of like, oh, because I was playing with like purpose and power, because the things it's Women on Purpose. So it's the Women on Purpose weekend live event. So I was thinking for the so-called mastermind, like purpose and power VIP circle or something different. Somebody else had suggested, well, you don't need to have purpose in it. Why don't you stay away from purpose? And the reason I'd pick the purpose and power is because I do that combination of rediscovering your purpose, rekindling your passion. But also I teach the art of feminine negotiation, about stepping into your feminine power, right? Through the art of negotiation. So I thought that purpose and power VIP circle, but somebody goes, stay away from that altogether. Why don't you call it Women on Fire? Which I like, but I think there are some other Women on Fire groups out there in that. So I wanted your input or any brilliant ideas you guys have.
All right. Well, sure, Women on Fire sounds exciting and it's not necessarily your brand.
Yeah.
So the thing that I want or want to encourage each of you to pay attention to is what's your brand.
Yeah.
And you already have it with Women on Purpose.
Yeah.
So don't make it too complicated. That calling it the Women on Purpose Mastermind is the purpose of a title is to give your program a concrete feeling of like, this is a real thing, right? You're not just saying like, join my program, but it doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a thing. So when you're able to talk about it this way, imagine that you're giving your offer and you're saying, when women join my Women on Purpose Mastermind, they experience accelerated results, increasing their income by, blah, blah, blah. Like you're talking about specific things of what happens in their lives. And you're able to speak to those specific results as they pertain to that program. So you're able to keep planting those seeds. When women join my Women on Purpose Mastermind, when women are enrolled in the Women on Purpose Mastermind, over the course of the year in the Women on Purpose Mastermind, we do X. At the Women on Purpose Mastermind retreat, you're going to have the opportunity to X. For all of you, your program title needs to be easy to say and aligned with your brand. And if you try it on, just like I was doing, of saying it over and over and over again, it shouldn't be something that you fumble on or that it feels like, oh, it's too clunky or the title's too long. So I would vote for keep it simple and aligned with what you've already created, because the momentum you're focusing on creating is Women on Purpose. They're there for an event for Women on Purpose. And now they could have the mastermind. And I would agree with Shayna, like masterminds are still there. Yes, people are using that title. I have a program with that title as well, with mastermind in the title, and people understand what it means.
Yeah.
So, or for the most part, like your ideal clients will understand. So the thing about a mastermind is that people do have an association with it being about the community as well, that there's going to be opportunity for masterminding, that it's not just you leading, but people are actually going to be connecting with each other, and that there's going to be a component of that. So is that true for your program?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, it's a little different than business programs where it's all about sort of that connection and making those those networking connections, because it's more, but having said that, the negotiation piece, definitely, as we get higher level and you get higher level people in the program, then there's definitely going to be that sharing of negotiated experiences and skills and strategies and tactics and things that I could see that happening. Yep.
So you could also use, just as a couple other tosses, you could say intensive, or immersion.
Would you stay away from like circle or whatever? Is that too benign?
No, it's okay, but it depends on your brand and what your kind of what the feel is for what women are used to in there. But they're not necessarily like the circle, women on purpose circle. I mean, when you said VIP circle, that gives that more edge. It's just a little longer when you add in another word.
Yeah. I love that. But I never thought, like, as you were talking about the fact that, at our Women on Purpose Mastermind retreat, doing this in our Women on Purpose Master, because otherwise it does get trippy, in our Purpose and Power VIP circle retreat gets a bit much. So that was great advice.
Yeah. And I just would, for all of you, when you have a business name like that's something, it's like Women Rocking Business is a business name. And then there's Women Rocking Business Live. It flows from that. Now there's multiple programs within that. And so Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy and Leverage have been around for years before Sage branded as Women Rocking Business. So that's part of why those programs have those names. But for those of you who are creating it in a way that like this, it's all happening in that order. Like you've just created your business name, you're deciding on what it's going to be called, and then you're going from there. I would just say tie them together. It makes it really easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super. That was perfect. Perfect timing. Thank you.
All right. And your event is coming up. Is it this weekend?
It's Friday. I'm like, what?
Yes. So let's all send Cindy some love for her Friday. First event, first paid offer from Sage, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Jumping right in. Beautiful. All right, Rachel Cooley, you've been waiting so patiently since yesterday.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
I wanted to ask you, Megan. What did I want to ask you? Okay, so I had a great session with Shayna yesterday, and I decided to do a one-day event leading up to my angel certification program. It starts in early September. I'm looking at August 17th. Actually, I've already booked the venue. So
you're not looking at it, you're doing it.
I'm doing it.
Yes.
Yay, I'm doing it. So I'm happy about that. And I just wanted to, I pretty much know this, but I thought I'd just run it by you. So what do you recommend? I'm looking at about 12 people. It's not a very big space. Do you recommend that I do the $97 seat deposit to get them more committed to attending?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things, if you, for instance, had room for 100 people and you're like, oh, it's okay if some don't show and I'm going to overbook it and it's going to be fine. When you only have room for 12 people, you definitely want to make sure that people are going to be there. And what's really true is there's always going to be a few people that don't show up. And so you're probably going to want to overbook it slightly, unless you're 100% sure like these people are really committed. But, even when people are really committed, some things happen, like things come up and they end up, having a family thing or some emergency and need to not be there. So when you have a limited event space like that, you definitely want to make sure you have a seat deposit. We do the refundable seat deposits because it's an easy way for people to still say yes to an essentially free ticket, but they do have to put that commitment down to show up.
Okay, got it. Non-refundable. And then
Or no, refundable. No, I'm saying refundable. Still refundable.
Refundable. I meant to say refundable. I meant to say refundable. So I know that at like Women Rocking Business Live, that when we get there, we basically get the $100 bill, right? So that sounds like a fun way to do it.
Yeah, it is fun for sure. So that people can just have that, like there's that feeling of just having the cash back, and then it's easy too. You don't have to deal with a bunch of checks or online refund processes and all of that. Right. So you could do $100 deposit in that case, and then just give $100 back.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. That sounds good. I'm in the midst of starting to decide what my title is going to be. This is leading into my certification, so I think it's probably something along the lines of angel healing guidance. I need to work on the words.
Well, yeah, because it's an angel certification.
Yeah.
So remind me again, just because I know I'm not your private coach, so I don't know as many details. But remind me. So where are you guiding people to go from this event?
Where am I guiding? So from this event, it's going to be into my virtual 6-month program, angel certification program that we're going to have on Zoom. So yeah, you can finish it. No. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, my son asked me a question.
No problem.
So that's where I'm guiding them to go. And Sage was encouraging me a couple months back when we got, she was encouraging me to go forward with the certification, to like gear it towards healers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So my thought is just thinking about who's going to be there. So if they're doing a certification, I'm just tuning into this, like,
yes.
The event, it sounds like the event would be geared towards having healers come and learn about another modality that they could add to their practice to increase their income and their way of being of service to clients.
Yes. My view, I'm seeing it as like both. Some people, maybe they're not necessarily healers yet, but they're feeling really guided to check this out and go down this path. So I think it's going to be a combination. Yeah. And it can be a combination, but I would encourage you to gear it towards one. Like if you're saying, thank you.
Yeah, if you're saying, because it was supposed to be only 12 people. So if you think about only getting 12 people there, then it makes it easier to know this is my population. These are the people to ask. And that's actually a great question for all of you to think about. If you could only be in a room with 12 people, who are those 12 that you're going to want to serve?
Yeah.
Who are those clients? What's the common denominator between those ones? And then whatever you're doing, from your speaking engagements to a live event to online, social media, Facebook Live, all of these pieces, and just starting to think about how would you speak to those ones, because then you can always get some extra along the way, but you're speaking to those ones.
Okay, that helps me a lot.
Especially for an event. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Especially for an event. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Who is next? I know I'm trying to look at, let me just take a quick peek at the list from yesterday because I took a screenshot of the folks that were on my list. Okay. Okay, Jenny. You were on the list yesterday. I'm going to unmute you. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Megan.
Hey.
Okay, I have lots of questions, but I guess maybe we can pinpoint to this. As you know, I'm transitioning my message from helping people with heart-centered professionals, entrepreneurs with a purpose and passion and gifts, to now focusing on healing support for entrepreneurs. So, I was feeling I made that transition to make it smooth, from helping people support them, entrepreneurs, to heart-centered entrepreneurs to have success and money breakthrough, so they can actually grow their dream business to 6-figure and beyond. So, and most of my people I guess, not really business people, entrepreneurs perhaps in the past. So I'm trying to, transition them over, and I guess maybe you can help me get some clarity around this, and even any ideas of, in addition to, my what I'm going through, to see how I can perhaps attract more ideal clients in this new messaging.
Yeah, so as far as transitioning people over when you're refining your niche, Jenny, my thought is that, just like you're saying, there's going to be a lot of the people that may have been following you that aren't the right fit for what you're creating going forward, because you really are focusing in on the entrepreneurs and what they're creating. So I would actually encourage you to be really clear about who you're wanting to work with, and you're speaking directly to them in your messaging, so that if, when people are reading things or watching a video from you and it's not for them, then they understand that too. Because often we can be afraid of polarizing in that way. And I'm just going to mute you for a second because it's feedbacking. And so I would just encourage you to think about how you can be even more bold in your stand of, this is who I work with now. And you're not thinking so much about, these ones from the past. Does that make sense? I'm going to unmute you again.
Yes. So I should transition right now. There's a part of me feel like I need to slowly transition them over because I don't want to shock them. But you feel like I should go ahead and take the stand now and start speaking that message.
Well, when you're not, I'll mute you again. Sorry. When you're not wanting to continue working with that group of people, especially in terms of creating groups for them to be in, then I mean, this is also personality related. I'm definitely more of a rip the Band-Aid off kind of person, of like, just, okay, this is what we're doing now. And then all the energy goes forward in that direction. I think, as you've seen me do as well. So I would encourage you to really take that stand, and you can, as far as your list and sending them messages, you can make an announcement of, I'm going to be creating some amazing offerings specifically for entrepreneurs. Would love to know, if that's you, you can go ahead and reply to this message. I'm going to be creating a private Facebook group or something like that you could also share with them and say, I want to invite you into. Or you could just simply create the group and have the link right there in the email and then say, join us over here. This is the new group for entrepreneurs. So you're making an announcement, but also with an action for something that they can do and be a part of. So you're knowing, well, who from your current list is actually paying attention, they're engaged, and they're in that right category for what you're going to be creating.
And do you mind if I ask a follow-up question, like, for clarity for myself? Because I've been having this global quantum healing community for 5 years since I've been doing this work, and we have, decent following. But like I said, not everyone is in this new focus refining niche. So do you recommend me creating another group for entrepreneurs?
Well, you mean, do I recommend you creating another group or staying with the group that you've already created?
Facebook group, or stay with the one?
So you could stay with the one that I'll mute you again, sorry. So you could stay with the group that you already have. If you want people to be able to go back and look at those videos, look at the content you've created in there, if you feel like it pertains to them, it's going to be a valuable place for them to be, because I know that there's social proof for you in that group. And then you just start to shift your messaging and the way you speak in that group, and you're making it really clear, like, this is who this is for. I know one of the challenges you've had is sometimes you've been attracting people who really want the free healings from you, but they're not ready to invest, and they're not like wanting it in the same way as the new messaging that you're taking a stand for is going to inspire a different kind of action. So I think that's really your call for, if you want to build on the group that's already there. Some people will just unsubscribe and fall away, both from your list and from that group. That's fine. Or you can start directing people to a new group and start a new, fresh energy.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome, Jenny. I love this niche for you. I think it's really honoring of your gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. You're so welcome. All right, Valerie, I'm going to unmute you. You are next. Or
Yay.
no?
Hi.
Okay. Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So happy to be able to ask a question because lately every time there was a call, I was in an airplane. So.
Oh, well, glad to get to have you here. I'm just plugging in.
So one quick question first. Do you know the dates of the September retreat? Because I need to plan a trip and I want to make sure I can be at the retreat.
Yes.
And you can give them later as long as I can have them as soon as they are available.
Yeah, I believe it's the 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay. Of September.
Of September.
Okay,
and
awesome.
You can check, any announcements that are coming with the actual specifics, but definitely it's that. I know it's that Monday, Tuesday that I have.
Perfect.
It's that in there, 8, 9, 10, 11, like in those 4 days range.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second, quick question like that. When people, yesterday you mentioned that too, when people are talking about certifications, are these certifications that have a valid, like national, like how do you do that? Do you have to like get approval by a national board to certify somebody? Or are we talking using the name as a empowering name that you give them your own thing?
It's more like certifications from your school or your academy, your program, like getting a certificate of completion, so that there's a credibility to
what you
offering. Exactly. So it's not necessarily like for instance, if someone was doing a coaching certification, it's not necessarily the same.
Okay. Those were quick. So my question for today, I really need help. Right. And that's what I wanted to make sure I got the understanding. Okay, my question. I am shifting. It's funny how people are talking about the same thing. I'm shifting from the love coach to what was really more in alignment for me, which is to be a coach for people to help find their purpose and their passion. And it's interesting how the 2 calls before as well were asking about this on different fronts of it. I have had a group, fortunately, I never changed the name. It's called Unleash Your Inner Power. So it's totally in line with what I am, aligning myself with. And even my signature program, which lasts 6 months, it's called Quantum Leap Your Life. So it's like I'm going back to really what's my thing. I never really fell into the love coach thing. What I'm having trouble with, and it's what I need your help with today, is I really am struggling in finding the USP, the one concise phrase that really expresses what I'm doing. I had got a great one for the love coach and now I can't find my phrase. I have this very long one that I posted in our group, but nobody gave me an input. I'm going to read it to you so you understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
It says, it's really convoluted. I show courageous women who are feeling overwhelmed, confused, and unfulfilled, or stuck at a plateau in their lives, business, or jobs, how to see exactly what's blocking them and how to start living a joy-filled, empowered life, believing in themselves and their power to succeed. I know it's very long. It just has all the concepts in there.
So you posted that on the leverage page?
Yes.
Let me see here. I'm gonna try to, it would be easier if I just saw
I posted it only a couple of days. If you check my name, you will see it.
I am going to look there. So one of the things I want to speak to just while I'm looking for this, let's see, June 10th.
It's on June 10th at 5:30.
Okay.
In case you have a way.
Okay, got it. So one of the things that I heard in there, and what I would share just for all of you who are struggling with the refinement of niche, is how can you narrow it down to the one or two things that you're offering and the solutions that you provide? Because right now, when you say I show courageous women who are feeling overwhelmed, confused, unfulfilled, stuck at a plateau in their lives, businesses, or jobs, like that's the whole package of problems. So basically you're saying, like, if you have any problem in your life, like it goes back to saying you could just serve all women, because most of them are having one of these feelings probably.
So let me add to that. When you just said, if you were having to be in a room of 12 ideal clients, who would they be? Yeah. I know who mine are. Right. They are women that are already in a spiritual journey and who want to create a business of that purpose, and they don't know how to. That's really my ideal client.
Okay, well, there you have it. Yeah, that's it. That's the thing to speak to. So I support spiritual women. I support spiritual women to align their purpose, or let's see,
align or get clear as well.
I would say to scratch that. I support spiritual women to create a business from their purpose, or to turn their purpose into a profitable business. I'd say more, that would be my vote more so. To turn their purpose, I've stated a few times, like get different threads. Yeah. But I feel like that's what you're helping people do. You don't speak
to their pain point. You don't speak to their lack of clarity of their purpose, or to their difficulty to ground their purpose, or you don't speak to that in that statement?
Well, ultimately, like in a lengthened form of the statement, you do want to speak to the pain points, but when you're being really direct with just what you said, when I saw people's faces light up and I saw the recognition of, oh yeah, that's what you do, then if it creates that kind of recognition in people, that's what you're looking for. So you don't have to say it as the perfect, like, what do you do statement template. It's more about nailing what is it that you're helping people do in that 12-year-old language, 10-year-old language, that is just helping people to see, okay, this is who I would go to if I want to create a business and I'm a spiritual woman. So I would think that some of her problems might be that she could be currently working in a job that doesn't feel aligned, or feeling like she knows what she's meant to do, but she has no idea how to turn that into a profitable business.
Yeah, and many times they don't know. They know that there's something, but they don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. They don't have that clarity.
Yeah. Is
it too big of a leap to help somebody gain clarity of their purpose and take them into creating their business? That's too big of a leap, right?
And not if you know how to do it, but that depends on your skill set of like your genius and what you're bringing. So if you're wanting to work with people in terms of like their business, then you would want to speak to that. And if it's going to be relating to profitability and creating something that is generative for them, then you'd want to speak to that. If you just want to talk about the purpose aspect, like you're helping spiritual women who feel like there's something more. I mean, that would be a way to say it. Like there's something more to discover their purpose. And let's say that would be like, that's a starting place for it. But the thing I want to caution you on, Valerie, is like, it has to be what's yours to do for it to work. So for all of you in your niches and when you're claiming, like if you're having thoughts like I should switch from love coaching to purpose coaching because that's going to bring more clients in, it won't.
No. On the contrary, it's because I actually started with purpose because that was my thing, but I
Mhm.
could make that work because
Got it.
myself, I was in the process. So then I went into love coaching thinking, okay, I've got this more figured out. And now really that I've learned and I have more of the foundations, I realized that all the messaging that comes through me, all of it, and the success I had in Argentina with the event was all about purpose. What's coming through is purpose. So
Great.
I actually felt out of alignment whenever I was forcing myself to do things with the love coaching thing.
Great.
So I'm like, there's something really that is not aligned. So I'm trying to understand the right wording. Unfortunately, I had done all the work with the love coaching, all the wording, everything, all the courses. So now I'm getting back into it, but my messaging, what's coming through is this.
Yeah. And you'll have, and like you said, though, you're already teaching content that is related to, it was always related to purpose, and it's naturally what's flowing through you. So it might seem frustrating to have to recreate some of these pieces like landing pages and opt-in gifts, and I get it that that's not fun to have to recreate those things, and at the same time it's going to feel so worth it to you because it is aligned. And so that's always the piece to look for, is like what feels like, here's what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, for you, then speaking exactly to that, what I heard your process was really getting aligned with what you're here to do, what your purpose is, and this is what you help others to do as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. You helped me get some more clarity. I will finish the exploration, but at least you gave me some input so that I could go for that.
Yeah. And then go post it. Post your next version of that as you get clear, and just keeping it to, just one sentence, like concise. And anytime, for those of you who are writing them out and you feel like you have comma of all the different things because you're wanting to tell people all in that sentence, just remember that it's just your opening sentence. It's just a relationship opener to that conversation, that then you get to have the real full conversation when someone's like, oh, wow, that sounds interesting. Then you get to talk about the other pieces that you do. It's not the end of the conversation when they hear your what do you do statement.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Valerie. All right. Haley, you're up next.
Hi, Megan.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I have more of like a general question. Like, it's not really related to a specific training. So my personal goal, like I would really like to build my business mostly online, but I also, like, because of leverage, like plan to bring in the in-person pieces as well. But as far as like, I mean, just kind of all of that, balancing the in-person and the online. For me, like I tend to feel really burnt out by like doing a lot of networking and creating, online connections, connecting with larger groups of people. And so it kind of demotivates me a little bit when it comes to like checking in and following up regularly with like Facebook notifications, or following up after a networking event, or like texting and messaging. I feel like I have such a flood of that in my life these days. Even just at the bare minimum of managing like my top 5 like closest friends and family. And so, I love and desire and thrive in making those real, like, deep, genuine, heartfelt connections. And I understand the importance of connecting and connections for my business. So my question is, like, how do I create some like systems, some structures or boundaries around my business so that that area of connecting can fuel me and nourish me instead of be draining and something that I resist and it's overwhelming.
Okay, good question. The first place I always look is to what does energize you. So rather than looking at the to-do list of what we're supposed to do or should do, I always think, like, throw those things out and really consider, like, what's the way for you that actually feels energizing when you are connecting with potential clients?
So some of the things that I've felt energized by in the past is like whenever I'm making more of a one-on-one connection with somebody, just in general, or like even at, say, like at Women Rocking Business Live, there's 500 women, but any sort of smaller group connections or like more individual connections, I generally feel pretty energized by. And in the online space, I love connections where people are like, if I'm like doing a Facebook Live or doing a training or leading a group, I like those interactions when I get people's questions and when they're like taking an interest. My challenge is like when I feel like I mean, you can't get someone to take an interest in a way, like people have their own free will. So it's like, what am I trying to say exactly? But it's like when there's an engagement and interest from both sides, like that's what feels more nourishing. Even if it's just like a light curiosity, it's more like when somebody's present.
Yeah. I would say, like, look at for your speaking engagements or ways to do that. You could experiment with making them more like intimate gatherings, or sharing that. Like, I've done things before where, like for women in business, I've done like afternoon tea and cupcakes gatherings, and those have gone really well. People have been excited about coming to that and saying, like, I've got spots for 6 people to come and be in more connected conversation, and really speaking about that. Like, this is for people who want that and want to be engaged, and you want to be seen, and you want to be part of the conversation and not just like watching. So that would be one thing to try, rather than the typical like speaking engagement where you're trying to just get as many people there as possible. You could have 4 to 6 spots and have an intimate gathering. And so I'm curious how that lands.
Yeah, I do like those ideas. It's odd because sometimes in that setting that I'm like, oh, now there are only 6 people and they're all like eyes on me. But I think I'll get over, like, that's something I tend to get over in the first couple of minutes. Where
I think most of us have that feeling at the beginning, and then it's like, okay, and then you get into your groove.
Yeah.
And also it's great to be able to have those exercises that's like having them partner off, or ways, even if you have a larger group of people, to make sure you have those elements where people are connecting in little pods, and you get to connect and float around and connect in with those groups as well. And it's not just the larger one. As far as keeping up with the email and DM kind of notification things, social media stuff, I would say just setting aside a time for that it becomes one of the things that you're doing, not as like, it's not meant to be a pleasure action. It's more of like, here is something I'm going to do for my business, and I'm allotting a certain time for it. That is like, and how could it be the most pleasurable? It could be, and everyone have different range of what that is. I'm all about bringing pleasure into life and business, and finding ways for that. And so maybe it's like, oh, you go to a park, like right now it's so hot in San Francisco, and like go to a park and you're gonna like lounge on a blanket and say, I'm gonna give myself 20 minutes to answer these, or 30 minutes. And how can you combine those things? I regularly do things like that. And also it's a matter of not being available all the time for those messages. Like, I have a point where I check in on Facebook, and I have a point that I would check in with, like, I have like audio messages sometimes that are being sent within the team, and things like, I just check once a day in those places, and it doesn't have to feel like it's taking energy from me at all points. Like, otherwise it starts to feel like little energetic leaks that are like, sucked out at all different times, other than here's the focus time for that. So I would encourage you to build in more focus time, and that definitely will require some boundaries around like creating a new pattern, because it's so easy to just pick up the phone or look on your computer, and it's a retraining.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of that in the past. That's definitely helped. I think maybe where I need more help with it is like I've been on Facebook a little bit less over the last like 2 months while I started this new job, and came back to like, I think it was like the feeling when I was away of like, there are probably messages getting missed. There are probably comments or like engagements like being missed, or like, what do people think of me, you know, being pretty quiet on here for these couple of months. And like my birthday happened over that time, and I got all the birthday messages, and like literally haven't responded to things because I haven't I haven't caught up with everything, and Facebook cuts you off after like 100 notifications or something. So I think it's that too. It's like the internal feeling of pressure. As much as I know I can just like, I do have the ability to release the should. I think it's like the fear of missing out on those opportunities of like people who might be reaching out and asking for help and not being there.
Well, yeah. And so that's where I would say it's going to create more of that feeling of internal pressure when you disengage for such long periods of time. And so when you are coming back, I would just say not worrying about what's done is done. And then you're starting fresh from this day. Like, okay, I'm going to check in once a day for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and making that part of your routine and flow that, you know, you can actually let go of any of that feeling of pressure or anxiety that somebody's not getting met and heard, that you really want to make that connection with, because if they're reaching out to you, you're seeing it and you know it's getting handled that day rather than like the unknown kind of trailing energy. Yeah.
I usually, that is rare for me to have that like long period of disengagement, but I was like, I was so consistent and engaged with my Facebook and with everything up until then. And then it was kind of a sharp break. And so I think I'm just processing those feelings from it. I like the idea of just having a shorter time to do it each day, because I think I had it on my calendar before for like an hour every day. And that was like, I just really dreaded that hour of looking through all the Facebook notifications, and most of them weren't connections. And I think that's what was like frustrating, was most of them are like the auto generated things. So
yeah. And so the fresh start of moving forward from today and seeing what can you do to streamline that and take responsibility for how you want to use your time going forward.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Haley. Erin, you're next. Erin Guthrie. Oh, just disappeared. There we go. I'm going to unmute you.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you? What's your question?
I'm very excited to finally be called on. So I've been waiting a really long time. So my question is, I have a live event coming up in October. And last year, every time I do a live event, like this year in 2019 was the first time I actually filled my live event without any real work, because I've been doing blogs, 2 blogs a week. I've been doing a newsletter once a week. Like everything just funneled in naturally. But I want to do this event in October, like using like a protocol, like you guys are, trying to coach me to do that. But I'm like so overwhelmed. Like I don't really know. So I have a 3,000 email list. I have a following on Facebook. I have an Instagram following. But I don't know. I mean, I know I'm supposed to start with an email with a free gift. And then from there, I'm just confused about, do I completely cut off all the people that don't opt into that? And just only nurture the people that have opened that email or replied to that email to limit myself and nurture just those people?
No, you can be, so the free gift is more to get new people on to your list. So you could give something to your whole list and say like, oh, I created this. I wanted to make sure that you all had it. And then you can send it out and you can see how many people opened it and see who's engaging from that. But I wouldn't make them opt in again. So you could have, for the free gift, for instance, from Instagram, to get people from Instagram into your mailing list. That would be a way to start to build that, where you add it to your Instagram bio and then you start talking about it in your stories on there and start talking about it in your posts, that you're offering this free gift. And
so I guess that's where my confusion is, because I don't feel like, I mean, like I have 1,000 followers, right? So it's not like that much. And those are new people, but they're already seeing all my stuff. So I'm just confused because like new people meaning, I don't know what you mean by new people. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to get people, but how do I get those new people? But do I have to do a Facebook ad to actually reach outside my
no. So what I mean is, so for if you're posting on Instagram or doing it in your stories or on your posts, you're sharing to get those people that are following you on social media, but they're not necessarily on your email list, jumping onto that
get
list.
them to opt in with just their email to find out more information about the event.
Yeah.
Yes?
So that's, or for a free gift though. So you're giving them something to engage them.
That's good. That's helping me, because so am I actually writing about the camp when I'm offering the free gift? Like talking about the event, or not at all?
Not yet. No, the free gift is just something to get people to know you more. So it's like, if you think about like, okay, so how could I word this? Like you see an ad for something online, like a pair of shoes, and it comes through your feed and you're like, oh, those look interesting. I'm going to go into, it's like, oh, ad for like Converse shoes. And now I'm going to go and look on their website and see what other ones they have. That's kind of what people are doing, in the sense of they might look on your Instagram, it's like seeing an ad, and then they look on your website, but they're still not in your world in the same way as like someone going into a store. And so when they give you their email, it's more of like, now they're another step invested into your world. And you can directly write them and be engaging from different ways. So where you could be reaching out to them from Meetup, you could be reaching out to them from Instagram, you can reach out through your newsletter, through blogs, like having different avenues for people.
When do I actually talk about the live event? And the live event is actually very expensive, whereas you guys don't do it like that. So, you know what I mean? Like I kind of totally am changing things around, and I'm really confused about it, because it's a $19.99 price tag, right? So, you know, they have to know and trust me before they're going to spend that kind of money.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, but do you suggest that I don't do that and have a less expensive event? And then, because they're already, like, I have memberships, I have a full, my daily life is full. Like I have, 20 VIPs, I have 35 group members, and I have 25, of a lower level. So I have all that stuff already filled, and I'm growing. And so like, I'm just I'm like totally overwhelmed, because I'm trying to change it from what I did it before to see if I can go to like 20.
The question would always be, so if you're changing it, what are you wanting to be different? So if you're wanting to grow it, that you want more people.
The live event, to have more people at the live event.
Yeah. So having more people at a live event, that's the reason we offer it for free. So the reason Sage has, like, when you're saying you want, like, how many people did you have last year at the live event? 25. Yeah. And so the reason why Sage does it that way, like having 500 people come to a live event, there's no way 500 people would come if she was selling her tickets for $2,000.
Right. But the problem is my cost is very high. So I'm teaching people how to swim, how to bike, how to run. I have other coaches there. I have to pay for all this other external stuff. So it has to be a higher price tag.
The way I'd want you to frame it is, this is more of like, this is a paid event. It's not the live event model to enroll them into a program.
No.
It's the event is the program.
Yeah, the event is the program. Okay.
Yeah. So same for any of you who are offering retreats. It's like, that's not the same as a live event model. So just like, let that go. You're not trying to do the same thing. Yeah. This is like, fill in the blank for when you're thinking about what you're launching. That's what you're launching. Like, you're launching this as the program, essentially.
So, so my Bahamas triathlon retreat. That's
awesome. That's exactly it. Yes. Okay. Bahamas triathlon retreat. That sounds hot. And with that, I would say you're going to look for, again, 5 different avenues that you're reaching out to people. That's what it comes down to. So you've got your Instagram, you've got your email list, and you've already got the blog too,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Any other avenues that you're connecting with people? What about Facebook Lives?
Facebook Live I've never done, but I want to do one. And I also have a live event next Thursday night. So that I'm going to do a live, like a meet and greet kind of thing.
Yeah, so free talks, speaking engagements, like mini workshops, like free talks, basically. That's what I would add in to your funnel.
Okay.
Because that in-person component, when people get to know you, that's much easier for them to invest.
Right.
So adding that piece in addition to the Facebook Live videos.
Okay, Facebook Live. And maybe doing like a series of 3 like Facebook Live videos where I actually teach a little bit of something, because I've never done anything like that. Is that I was listening to somebody yesterday who did that, like a 15 minute. Is that something that could happen?
Yeah, you can just do it as it's like a 3-part training, and so you could definitely do 15 minutes to, sometimes people go for 30 or 45. It's not a matter of the length so much as getting people engaged for those multiple days, so you get to give them more training.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, that helps me a lot. So I was really confused about the whole live event thing versus the event is the event.
Yes. So just to be super clear for everybody who's confused by any of that, live event model is having an enrollment event where you're trying to gather everybody together with you for usually 2 or 3 days, where they're going to get to know, like, and trust you enough to invest in a longer program. And so this is a great model for any of you who are wanting to bring people into a year-long program with you, or 6 months or 9 months. Live events are a really good model for that. And usually they're free or very low cost, so that it gets people there, and they're paying their accommodations, they're paying their food and all that on top of it. But then the event itself is free. Yours is a different, it's like the program itself. It's just people are coming to do it live with you on retreat. So for any of you who are having that kind of offering of a retreat, or I just don't, if you just don't think of it as an event, just think of it like a retreat, and like that's your program.
Right. And then, so still using the lead. So I have those 5 places that I'm getting emails from, and I have my email list. Like, is there still something, like I usually send out the information about the camp, and then, because it's such a high price tag, I don't reveal the cost. They have to call me and see if it's a fit, kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's exactly how to do it with all of those kind of offerings. They're having a discovery session with you as the next step.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. That clarifies a lot. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You're welcome, Erin.
Okay,
Okay. Marlene. Let's see. I'm going to unmute you.
I just got picked for my question to be answered. So sure, go ahead.
Oh. Hey, Marlene.
Hi, I'm sorry. My boyfriend just walked in.
No problem.
No, hold on a second.
What's your question?
I was just looking to say, I hope I remember it in case I get picked.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My question kind of goes all over the place. I'm still in the process of doing my potential client interviews. I'm in the ELA program.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of itty bitty compared to who you normally work with.
Oh, no, you're not. You're perfect stage.
Yeah, it felt good to hear you say that earlier. I'm like, oh God, I got so far to go. So I basically have 2 arenas that I work with. One has been a therapeutic counseling arena, and the other is a spiritual realm. And so what I discovered is that a lot of the people, my potential niche that I want to do is apply some of my education that I already have in place with the spiritual realm people that are struggling to go through. Now, I did figure out a little bit more that I want to do more like spiritual alignment type stuff. But when I heard you talking earlier, is there a way I could develop either a niche, or it might just be a talk that would address potentially 2 groups? Because a lot of the same people that come to my spiritual stuff for like psychic development or whatever they want to do, mediumship, are the same people that come to my Healthy Connections group to learn about growing and getting, developing their issues into something to be more healthy. They're the same people, a lot of them. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it just occurred to me when you were talking earlier. So I thought, well, I've been trying to separate it and then bring it together, but I'm getting kind of fogged up on how to either make the niche that way or just when I go towards my signature talk, make it that way.
Yeah, so what we recommend is, Sage always talks about micro niching for momentum.
Okay.
And so that's one thing that I just want to bring in for you. So when you diversify too much and you have like different, you're trying to have talks for different groups of people, then it can split your attention. It also splits their attention because you're sharing about all different things and people don't really get to know you for like this one thing. So if you think about being a specialist in one area and really honing in and developing that specialty as the foundation. And then after that, you can decide to grow and expand on it and bring in other elements, but just let it be one area as the foundation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having trouble with that.
Yes, most people do, and definitely in the beginning, because it can feel like, oh, but I want to be able to do all these pieces. And what's true is after they're in the door with you, then you can bring in these other elements. But if you just focus your talk on one area and then you get to bring in the other elements, once they're working with you, that's fine. But just let it be like one doorway for people to enter through.
So I feel pretty fortunate that I have several potential opportunities where I could go and have access to a lot of people. Yeah, and there's 2 of them coming up in just this month. And one of them is just like a psychic fair, but it's going to be a huge, it's not really a psychic fair. It's just an opportunity where I can go and be there and do readings during the day. But there's going to be like 4,000 people that are coming through there.
Wow.
So to me, that feels like potential to have access to, a nice little pocket of people that come for readings. And I'm wondering, should I have maybe my free talk, try to put it together quick enough that I could have a little thing there that invites those people to my free talk? I don't know. I'm just wondering, is that a good idea or no?
What I would do, what I would do is be in giving people a free gift that they would be able, you're getting their emails. That's the thing to collect, because if people aren't able to make the talk date, then they might not sign up for that. And so you want to get as many emails as possible, and then you can let them know about all the upcoming talks that you have. And so developing what that free gift is and making a sign for that and running that by your coach. I would definitely book a coaching session to do before this so that you can really hone in on what exactly that gift should be, because you have a couple weeks.
Yeah. Okay. So any solution for trying to make sure I'm trying to come out of the soup so bad? I'm trying so hard to come out of the soup, and every time I think I'm out of it, I feel like I'm kind of splashing myself with it a little bit.
Yeah. So you just got to claiming one and thinking about again, if you were going to be in a room with just 10, 12 people, then who would you want there as those ones that you're serving first? And it doesn't mean you won't ever get to serve the other ones, but just claim those first ones, because the point is to get a foundation of clients that's enough that you're going to be able to, pay all your bills from those clients. And then you can decide whatever you want to do from there.
Even if I don't have programs and that stuff yet, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Well, you don't have them for either niche, right? Like for either idea? Right. So that's why you don't want to pick more than one, because just let yourself focus on one to develop programs for one and sessions for one so that you can then more easily move forward with that.
Okay.
Yeah. You've got plenty to keep you busy with one niche.
Sure I do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Marlene. Congratulations on a great opportunity coming your way.
Yes, I'm very excited about it and scared at the same time.
Yeah, totally get it. Sending you love. Let's raise our hands for Marlene. Love, 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 love. You've got this. Book a session with your coach. Get support with that.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anya. I'm gonna unmute you. Hello.
Hey, I'm just moving outside. Here we go.
All right.
Hey, Red, how's it going?
Good.
So
Happy
I
to
have,
see you here.
I have a question. The question is this, is that I'm feeling a little bit intimidated by my target market, and it makes no sense. So my niche is that I mentor passion-driven women who are in soul-sucking jobs to move from employee to entrepreneur, and so they can create money, freedom, and time, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never actually been in a corporate job myself. I've always really worked for myself, but a lot of my clients are in corporate jobs, some of them really high up. So it just makes no sense that I'm feeling that maybe I'm not, that I won't be able to serve them as well as they deserve to be served. I just want a little bit of a mindset tweak, if that's okay.
Yeah. So what I hear is that you already have clients in that niche. You're already serving them.
Yes.
And how do they feel about working with you?
Oh, they love it. They think it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
And I love working with them. Some of them intimidate me because they're really high up the corporate ladder and they're very A-type, but I love them.
Yes, I think the best kind of clients are a little intimidating personally, because they keep us on our edge of like upping our game. And if it all feels like, oh yeah, okay, I've got this part, then you lose the enthusiasm to keep it going. So I think that's a piece to look at, that sometimes when you feel that edge of like, oh my gosh, can I really do this? Looking at that as a sign of, yes, you're the one that's been chosen to do this. They're loving you. They're wanting to work with you. And when people it doesn't necessarily make you the best suited to support them by being in a corporate role. Because the fact that you've been an entrepreneur all your life and you've gotten to focus on that you're really attractive to them. That's the piece to look at. They want what you have.
Yes.
If they're coming to you for that, they're like, oh gosh, set me free. Yes. I want this to be different. So you get to speak to the kind of freedom that you've created for yourself through your choices and the benefits that your clients are having through working with you and making those changes in their lives.
Awesome reframe. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, one other thing, and this might also be useful to other people, is that one of my biggest fears is really speaking in front of people. And that's why I was the lawyer who did 9 types of orgasm in the vagina monologues on stage in front of about 400 people to overcome that. But I still have this terrible fear of speaking in front of people. And I know that my success obviously rests upon that. Do you have any words of wisdom about that? So I've got to get out and start giving talks like pronto.
And that's really it. Like you just said it. So it's really about starting to give the talks. So the fear and all the stuff, and I know very well what that is. Like Serena has supported me a lot with that over the years in my shakiness of speaking and feeling the fears that rise up with that. And what I found is the only way it changed was to do it so often that it became the most normal thing.
Got it.
So now, like hosting, regularly hosting these kind of calls multiple times a week, this is just the norm for me. Seeing, could see 8 clients in a day. That's just normal. Like these things become normal because we give ourselves the challenges. And the same thing with like, the reason I put regular speaking engagements on my calendar of at least a couple times a month is so that feels like just like that's part of the flow of what I do. And so for any of you who feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so terrified of speaking and worried what's going to happen or how it's going to flow. No, the first few talks are probably not going to be your best ones ever. And so might as well just go ahead and do them so that you can keep getting better, so that when more people are paying attention to you, you've already got that part. Because I've seen it more. The flip side can be really scary for people when they haven't gone to practice. Now they've got a bigger audience. People are paying attention, but they never develop the speaking and the talks. And now they have to do it already in front of a lot of people. What's cool is when you've only got like 3 or 5 people attending a talk, even if you bomb it and they never come back, so what? There's lots more people out there in the world. That's kind of how I look. That's been my theory all along and how I've made it through.
I'm going to borrow it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks. Good question. All right, I know we're almost at time, but there's only 2 more hands still raised. So Sonia and Ada, you're there. I'm going to take Ada first because I know you were with us yesterday and you had your hand raised for a long time too. So Ada, I'm going to unmute you. Hi.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
I missed the last part of your conversation with Anya and I knew it was great, but somebody was texting me, so I wish.
No worries.
Can you repeat it? Just like
you'll be able to listen to the recording, but I want to get your question.
Yes, I have done about 15 potential client interviews and about 3 grow conversations. And I'm really excited about doing them because it gets better and better. So and then out of that, I've got 1 to 2 beta clients. I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
And one question I have 2 questions. One is, there are people who I know would be good future potential clients, the people I've talked to, but I have not stayed in touch because I do not know what to do with them. I know at some point when I get better, it'll be very interesting. So my niche is expatriates, and my sentence is, attention expatriates, 3 simple steps to create your fulfilling social network fearlessly. And the problem with expatriates in Switzerland is they feel disconnected and isolated, and it's a thing with visibility. And I'm hoping to bridge the gap through doing inner journey, inner child, work-life balance, and empowering them from the inside out to claim their place in the community.
Great. And so what do you feel like, what would you need to know from me, or what feedback do you need to be able to keep moving forward?
The first question is, how do I follow up with these people that I've talked with, and how often, and what is the point of, there needs to be a point of connecting with these people.
Yeah. And so if people are still interested, but they haven't said yes. So there's a cycle of enrollment that once you have the grow conversation and someone is kind of a maybe, they're not a yes or a no. If they're a maybe, then you want to create a next time to check in. Like, okay, what do you need to know? And giving them an assignment would be ideal. So what do they need to know to be able to move forward? And you're inviting them to then another session with you that would be a check-in. But at that point, if they're still like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm kind of wobbly, usually you wouldn't keep going unless you felt like, okay, yes, like this person, I know this is really right for them. What do they need? You keep digging and asking those questions, and then you might do another session to enroll them in something. So you've got to have a program in your next step that you can invite them into. But if you've gone through that process with people, they're just still kind of hanging out for maybe in the future sometime. This is why it can be good to have a Facebook group where you're doing some teachings into, that you can invite people into to say, hey, just stay tuned in with us over here. I'm going to be offering some free trainings. And that way they can find out about what you have going on, but you're not needing to do so much of the personal reach out with them.
Well, I'm not that far yet that I have had effective grow conversations yet. So what I've achieved so far is really great potential client interview conversations.
Great. Oh, the interviews. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So I'm still working on my grow. So these people that I mentioned, they, I can become friends with them and so on and so forth, but I don't have that much time to become friends with all these people.
Well, you don't want to become friends with them, actually, because if you become friends with all of them, then they'll just think they get you for free. So you do want to keep that in that sense of like here's the container that I have these free talks coming up. So you have to have some next thing that you're able to invite people to. And for all of you, thinking about what's your next thing. And that's why having consistent talks, whether you're doing them virtually on a Facebook Live or you're doing them in person, like through Meetup or Eventbrite, or just hosting a free talk, then that gives you an avenue to be able to keep inviting people, hey, come check this out. So that's what I would say for you, Ada, is just having something that you can invite them to and let them know about, but you want to have them all on an email list. Like you have all their emails and you can let them know here's what's coming. So you don't need to do the personal reach out to every single person, because gradually that list is going to grow.
I do not have signature talk. I mean, I'm planning to have it lined up August, September, but it is down the road. So I'm really freaking out about this signature talk and creating this marketable program. So
are you coming in? Are you coming to the retreat in July?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because you're going to get more support with that. So definitely, yeah, coming to the retreat in July is a great just next step to hone that in on that.
And that will address all this wonderful thing about getting visible and clear about signature talk and all that good stuff.
Well, it'll get you started on the signature talk piece. And then if you want more like of the customization with your coach on being able to go through, okay, here's the steps of my signature talk, that would be the next place. And for any of you who feel like you're stuck on something like that, that's a great thing to use a coaching session for with your coach, so that you can go through, okay, here's what I would need to have. Here are my main teaching points. And you know, sometimes it takes a couple sessions, but you'd be able to walk through those pieces.
Okay, and can you tell me about your very first signature talk?
I don't even know if I can remember about the very first signature talk, but it's similar to what I was saying to Anya, is that I know that I've had a lot of different talks where I've had anywhere from like one person showing up after 15 people RSVP, you know, to having, you know, a few people RSVP and then 15 people showing up, or, you know, 25 people. And it's never about how many people show up. So I guess that's something I would add on for everybody just with your signature talks. I have had, you know, one person show up and made $10,000. And it's not a matter of the numbers. Just know that your potential clients are not looking at you like you need to have a room of 500 people. They actually are really glad you don't, because they get you for that entire hour or an hour and a half. And they're just like, jackpot, I just got this time and I get to be with you. I mean, imagine how many of you here would want to get to be at a talk. You know, if Sage gave a talk and it's just you and her, you'd be like, yes, that's awesome. So think about that. The same thing. Your clients are thinking the same thing. They're excited, potential clients, they're excited to see you and be with you. So don't get hooked up on the idea of how many people you have and what all of that means. So that would be the piece I would say. And I still remind myself of that every time I do a talk.
Thank you so much, Megan. I'll see you in July.
All right. See you in July, Ada. All right. Sonia, thank you so much for your patience. I just need to unmute you. Or maybe you need to. I think it's not letting me. There you go.
I'm kind of in the soup a little bit. I wrote a book on soul purpose, and I also have developed a system that I'm trying to establish myself as an expert in. And it kind of moves into soul purpose, but it actually takes it beyond that. It takes you into getting past your stuck places of why you're here, and how those places keep you from really living the life that you want, living on purpose. So, and I'm also really keyed into the term ascension, because to me it all leads to ascension, which is a form of consciousness. So my system is called Christ Codes, and it's about attaining Christ consciousness so that we can ascend the earth experience and move on into more of a spiritual, higher purpose and have more impact on the world, so to speak. So anyway, so in coming up with a you know, like, what do I do statement, I'm kind of like, I want to establish myself as the Christ Codes expert, but this is, you know, it's a new system, and I could focus it on ascension and soul purpose, but they're saying keep it to one. So I'm just I listened to something that Sage Gift tuned us into from one of her clients, Alina, who was working on establishing yourself as an expert. And so I've been focusing myself on soul purpose and ascension, kind of waffling between those two things. But really, my expertise that I'm trying to establish is as an expert as a Christ Codes. And that is kind of an unknown to most people.
And is it something that, so you've developed or you're trained in it?
I developed it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's unknown in that sense that like you're letting people know about it. So the important thing for anything that you're developing like this, and for any of you who are developing something that people don't already know of, especially, then it becomes even more important to be able to talk about who it's for, because when they hear the name of it, they're not going to know if it's for them or what benefit it's going to be for them.
Okay.
So that's the essential piece that you want to be able to speak to, of who would, like, what's the problem someone would have that they would want solved when they come to work with you?
Okay. My question beyond that is, would I use the name if I'm wanting to establish myself as the expert?
Yeah. So you could have that in your bio. Absolutely. Yeah, but people, without them knowing what it is and what it means, then it's not going to help establish, I mean, I'm going to be super blunt. It doesn't establish you as an expert if it means nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm just, for those of you meeting me for the first time, I'm pretty blunt. So I don't want to make it like more prolonged and difficult for you to get established in this. And so we can think like, I thought up this really cool name, and then I'm going to attach like, you know, that like I created this, and that can sound good when you're being introduced like for an interview or something, like the creator of the Christ Codes or the founder of, and then you've got to be able to talk about what it does for people and why they would come to you.
Okay. All right. So since I don't have a book out on it, but I do have another book that I'm going to be teaching from as part of the structure for what I'm bringing with the Christ Codes, maybe focus on that aspect of it, and then bring in the Christ Codes as the module, as the aspect of it to transform what their difficulty is.
Yes, exactly. So it can be a program that you offer, but it's for that specific difficulty. So that's where I just want to, I know we're over time, so I can go for like 2 more minutes at the most. And so I just want to speak to those of you who now raised your hands since we went over time. I know we could just stay forever, but I just encourage you to go post your questions on your pages for ELA or Leverage. And I would say for you, Sonia, the piece that I want to land with you is, again, what's your answer to the question of what is that problem that people would be coming to you to have solved?
Okay. Okay.
Do you know?
Well, I'm helping them get past their belief systems and their core wounds.
Okay.
Which I feel is blocking them from really landing in what they're here to do, what they're about.
Great. Yeah. So speaking about getting past your limiting beliefs and core wounds that are blocking you from who you're really meant to be and what you're meant to do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way hotter, because then, and you can refine that even more to then what kind of person, like who are you helping? What's going on in their lives? Like, are they, people in business? Are they people, is it parents? Are they people who work for themselves or work for others? When you say the Christ Codes, I have an image that they are already religious and Christian. Is that true?
No, they're spiritual. It's not about Christianity at all. It's
Okay.
about someone who's on a spiritual path and
Yeah.
who is really feels like they're not getting the results they want from the system they're using, and so that's like spiritual women who are really dedicated to a spiritual life, and they know they're on that path. Those type of women.
Okay. Yeah. So that's even more refined, right? So you can see how then we get a better picture. And this is what it's about to pass the face test with someone. You want to have it honed in so that you could speak in just a sentence or two. And when you tell someone, they get an image of someone come to mind that fits that category.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. So you're definitely honing it in way more now. Thanks. Great question.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. All right. So we are over time for this one, and I'm going to hop on another training. So I just want to encourage you to keep asking your questions on the Facebook pages, be able to tag your coaches to make sure that they can give you feedback as well. And we do have these calls on the second Wednesday every month. So these are the bonus Q&A calls in addition to all your regularly scheduled calls. So I'll be back with you next month on this one. And next week is your mastermind call as well. So just making sure you're checking in your calendar and the group to join in. And when you show up to the calls and you devote this time, you carve out this time of the calls for your business, it's already amplifying you. You're in this field of consciousness, and this is a big part of the program, being in this field of consciousness of sisterhood, of women who are really, really committed to being of service in the world, and really committed to actualizing their visions. And so I just want to congratulate you all for taking this time out of your day to really be present for your business and for your visions, and encourage you to take the inspiration that you gathered from this call and turn it into action as soon as you hop off. I look forward to seeing you on one of the calls soon. Bye for now.